Hello, students. Today, we're going to do a complete revision of the chapter on population. Now, this is a really important chapter, not just for your exams, but for understanding our country, India, and its people. So, let's begin.
Okay, let's start with the most important idea of this chapter. The quote here says it all. Population is the pivotal element in social studies. And what does that mean? Well, just think about it. Without us, without human beings, what is coal? It's just a rock. What is a forest? Just a lot of trees. It is people who give meaning to everything. We are the ones who make resources, who build our economy and our society. So, to make our revision simple and clear, we'll go through these 6 topics one by one. First, why population is important. Then we'll look at India's population numbers, how it grows, what causes the changes, the characteristics of our population, and finally, the national population policy. A very logical flow. All right, first things first. Why do we even need to study population? Why does it matter? Remember what I said about coal? For ages, it was just a black stone. It only became a resource when we, human beings, figured out how to use it. That's the main point here. People are the ones who make resources useful. We develop the economy, we create society. We are central to everything. Okay, now that we know why we study population, let's look at the actual numbers for India. This section is all about the key facts and figures. So according to the 2011 census, what was India's population? It was 1.21 billion. That's 1,210 million people. It's a huge number, a very large share of the world's total population. Now, this chart is very telling. Look at the numbers. We have 17.5% of all the people in the world, but we only have 2.4% of the world's land. So what does this tell you? It shows that there is a lot of pressure on our country's resources, doesn't it? And this huge population, it's not spread out evenly. That's a very crucial point to remember. For example, a state like Uttar Pradesh has a massive population of almost 200 million people. But then you have a state like Sikkim with just 0.6 million, a huge difference. So to understand this uneven spread better, geographers use a concept called population density. It's quite simple, really. It just means the number of people living in 1 square kilometer of area. It helps us see how crowded or sparse a place is. And this map is a great way to see that. You can see the dark colors, can't you? Those areas, like the northern plains, are very densely populated. But then look at the lighter shades, like in Arunachal Pradesh. That tells you the population density there is very low. And here are the numbers to prove it. In Bihar, you have more than 1,100 people living in 1 square kilometer. Just imagine that. Now compare that to Arunachal Pradesh, only 17 people in the same amount of space. This really shows you the vast difference. So, a quick question for you. Why do you think the northern plains are so densely populated? Take a moment to think. What have we learned about that region? It has flat land, fertile soil, and plenty of water from the rivers. All these things make it very good for farming and living, right? All right, let's move on to our third section, understanding population growth. How has our population changed over the years? Now, this table is very important. Let's look at it carefully. First, look at the total population. See how it has been increasing steadily since 1951? But now, look at the last column, the annual growth rate. Do you see how it went up and then started coming down after 1981? This declining trend in the growth rate is a very important point. Okay, an important point for your exams. You must understand the difference between absolute increase and annual growth rate. Absolute increase is the simple number, how many people were added, but the growth rate is the percentage, how fast it's growing. This is a very, very important point, and sometimes students get confused here, so listen carefully. The rate of our population growth is slowing down, but because our total population is already so huge, even a small percentage increase means a very large number of people are added every year. So remember this, a declining growth rate does not mean the population is declining. It just means it's growing a little slower than before. So what are the reasons for these changes? What makes a population grow or change? That brings us to our next section, the processes of population change. There are 3 main things that change a population. First, the birth rate. Second, the death rate. And third, migration, which is people moving from one place to another. The difference between the number of births and deaths gives us what we call the natural increase of population. Now, when we talk about migration in India, a very big part of it is people moving from villages to cities. We call this rural-urban migration. There are push factors that make people leave villages, like poverty or no jobs, and there are pull factors that attract them to cities, like the hope of finding a job or having a better life.
And what is the results of all this migration? Well, look at this chart. The percentage of people living in cities has almost doubled from 1951 to 2011. This process of more and more people living in urban areas is what we call urbanization.
Okay, now let's look at another important aspect, the characteristics of our population.
Now, one of the most important features of India's population is its large number of young people. We're talking about the adolescent population. That's the 10 to 19 years age group. Many of you watching this are in this group. You are the future of our country. And that is why it's so important for the nation that adolescents get proper nutrition and a good education. All right, we're on to our last section. What has the government done about all this? This brings us to the National Population Policy. The National Population Policy of the year 2000 was a big step. The government realized that it's not just about controlling the number of people. The focus shifted to improving people's lives. Things like making sure children up to 14 years get free education, reducing infant mortality, and making sure all children get their immunizations. The idea is that an educated and healthy population is the best resource a country can have. So, to sum up our revision, understanding population isn't just about numbers and maps for your exams. It's about understanding our own country. And when you understand these things, you become a more aware and responsible citizen. So think about what you've learned. It's the key to building a better future for all of us. Keep up your studies, and I wish you all the very best.